What's up, guys? Seattle Gamer here. We're back with our first look video, the series where I play a video game for the very first time for your visual enjoyment. Today, I am super duper excited to bring you guys World End Economica Episode 2. This is the second visual novel in a 3-part series by the developers Spicy Tales and also written by Isuna Hasekura, which I probably mispronounced, who is the same writer who brings us Spice and Wolf, a series that I've read about 3 or 4 of them and have absolutely loved so far. So I've been waiting patiently for this game to come out, and it is finally here, and I'm super excited to bring it to you. This is also produced by the Sakai Project, actually the same ones who brought us basically all the visual novels that you've seen on my channel, as well as quite a few more. They're very prevalent on Steam right now, but I digress. World End Economica follows a series of a young boy named Haru. He is out to find his fame and fortune through the stock market and other economic activities like bartering and such on the moon. They colonized the moon apparently 16 years ago, and so that is all I know, the first story. I don't really know much about it. If you want to skip right to the gameplay, please click on the top left, sorry about that, top left of our screen. I just noticed there's a little help menu here. That's kind of cool. Anyways, otherwise, I'm going to take a look at the config here. Not a lot. We have windowed and full screen mode. Windowed is 1280 by 720 or 720p. And the full screen mode just kind of stretches it to your monitor. So I did full screen because it's easier for me to record. You also have text speed, which is what you see in a lot of visual novels. And then you have auto advanced speed if you want. And then you can also have visual transitions on or off. Background music volume, sound effects volume, and you can also choose your font out of a few if you prefer, or reset to default. That is it, guys. There's really not a lot to these visual novels as far as the developmental and port side. I would love to see a resolution slider on one of these. I think that would be leaps and bounds above what we've seen before, but maybe it's not needed. Maybe it's just not needed. We're gonna start it up here and see. I'm so excited. So excited, guys. You guys have no idea. All right. Here we go. I don't even know what happened in the first one either. Long ago, I wasn't able to trust in a girl completely. I wasn't able to hold onto her hand in the storm that was throwing us around. Overcome with panic and fear, I fought my hardest, but ended up only looking for a way out. It's just, there was a much bigger problem than me trying to find a way out. That is, I couldn't hold on to the hand of the one who had faith that we could pull through together. In those final moments, I lost sight of what I should have believed, what I should have protected, and what was truly important. I know this song. Oh my God, my wife plays this on the piano. It's gonna come to me. I think it's a Chopin. It turned out that bravery wasn't about not being afraid of anything, but rather it was about holding on to one's grace under pressure. I wasn't brave. I didn't have a shred of grace. I wept myself and prayed to a God that didn't exist. I held not the hand of the one who was important to me, but the understanding and lenient hand of the Reaper. You can never know if the outcome of an experiment will be a success or failure. Of course, there was nothing better than success. It's just that there are failures you must never commit. It's been 4 years since then. I still wake in the middle of the night, reaching for that hazy white light I could never touch. There are things you can't allow to get away from you in this world. Like the insect pinned to the board, I had that pinned down inside my heart. This is Prelude. I'm pretty sure this is Prelude by Chopin. I love that song, by the way. Actually, I just like most of Chopin's stuff in general. So, all right, super great start. Just out of the gate here. Broken glass, dilapidated walls, and a light with a bulb pulled out. I stood in front of an apartment complex with all of these in the impoverished area. Nobody was here to clean it up, so there were piles of beer bottles and some sort of parcel paper in the streets. all coated in rain and garbage. It was just before 11 a.m., the quietest time in the residential area. I readjusted my luggage and passed through the apartment's dimly lit entrance. Quite the bleak start here. Up until recently, much like the slums down in Terra, I'm assuming that's the Earth, this part of Lunar City wasn't a bad area. As other districts become nicer, the land value and quality of living here decreased, with those incapable of paying the rent took up residence. Even if things seemed bleak, eventually a sharp-eyed somebody would be attracted to the low property value and set out collecting capital to redevelop it. The apartments and buildings will be torn down, the humble little watering hole will become a proper bar, and the endearing general goods store that lets you put shampoo and soap on tab will be transformed into a heartless, modern shopping mall. And that new spick and span development will have no room for grungy individuals. Those unable to change with the pace of gentrification will go searching for yet another new place to live. This happened whenever a city was established on the lunar surface. It was a cycle mankind had gone through since the first cities were built. Lately, the cycle had become shorter. Not far in the future, these people will be kicked out. Thinking about that made me feel slightly gloomy as I passed through the corridor fashioned out of nothing but limestone blocks. It was even dimmer than the entryway. I feel like limestone wouldn't be something you'd find on the moon, considering it's made out of the shells of dead organisms, but maybe. Who am I to judge who here? Let's see. I passed an elevator that hasn't worked for months in favor of the stairway next to it, making my way up one step at a time on my crutches. Even electricity, the one abundant resource on the moon, where it's said to even breathing costs money, has started to become scarce because of the rapid development. Prices grew with scarcity. The poorest were the first to be unable to afford it. Lunar City even lowered the atmospheric temperature by more than 10 degrees in order to conserve electricity, so the morning and night are much colder compared to 4 years ago. It's pretty warm around noon, but still a bit nippy if you are lazing around. I took a deep breath and made my way towards my destination, the 4th floor. But before I even reached the dance hall on the 3rd floor, I heard their energetic voices. By the sound of it, there was quite a commotion in the room. I felt myself cringe mentally, thinking, well, what can you do? Today was that kind of day. I thought it was wonderful myself. It's the mysterious question mark, man. It has to be Mr. Jones' place from lot 14. Get other drinks too, not just liqueur. Or liquor, depending on how you want to pronounce that. Making my way up the steps. Every time I read that, I want to go, making my way downtown, walking fast. Alright. One at a time, I suddenly heard a booming voice, so loud that it made me wonder how badly it was echoing inside the apartment. It wasn't a vulgar voice, though. I'd even be complimentary and say it sounded very clear. I got it! I ain't a kid! That response came from the guy thumping his way down the stairs. Turning past the dance hall, he paused in front of me with a look of disbelief on his face. We knew each other. His hairstyle had changed so much that it was hard to shake the feeling that it looked off after the last 4 years. Ah, we finally get characters here. Hey, you finally made it. It's already started. I heard, sounds pretty lively. 'Cause we don't have much happy occasions like this. Sero had his hair back instead of wearing it in his characteristic afro. He descended a few stairs before bringing his hand up to my shoulder. What are you waiting for? Hurry your ass up. Don't keep the star of the show waiting. Don't be so bashful. I'm not. I was just thinking how you haven't changed at all. What? Haha. Even my hair like this and me wearing a tie when I go to work. Oh, this guy. Oh, he doesn't have a tie because he's not going to work. Gotcha. Sarah chuckled as he said that. His hair aside, he doesn't even wear a tie, nor does he go to his job often. Oh, that's what it used to look like. I gotcha. The only change, if I were able to believe some dubious internet cafe owners on the outskirts, was that he was now a senior engineer for some software company I've never heard of. It turns out Sarah regretted not being able to save Risa from her situation 4 years ago. He could live without money, but he couldn't help someone else if he didn't have any. That's why he gave up the afro. Yeah, I had long hair before I went to work and I chopped it all off, so I understand, man. I understand. What about you? Instead of just talking about other people, how about you? I'm talking about Risa. When I said that, Sarah's face went sour and his mouth twisted. He scratched his head, straightened up, and let out a big sigh. This was probably an old habit from when he still had the afro. Adult relationships ain't that simple. Without missing a beat, I replied, I'll bet. Acting all pretentious, you think you're an adult by saying that? I looked at Sarah without saying a word and brought my fingers to the edges of my mouth, pushing it up. It was an artificial smile. After that day 4 years ago, my face, much like my left foot, wouldn't move. Nothing good comes from being an adult. Sarah said that with a sigh. If I could change my expression, I'd probably be really smiling. Weren't you on your way to buy something? Yeah, that's right. I'll get you something if you want. Want a kitty drink? I'd appreciate that, but... What? I ducked out of work. I need to get back. Sarah looked dumbfounded and shrugged his shoulders. You're a workaholic. Nice phrase, but I need to work or else I'll get kicked out of the dorm and be forced to quit school. Ah, you're on a work scholarship, was it? Compensating you for your work and public service, right? Right, because of this leg, I'm an underdog in this society. I've been able to claw my way in, but I'm always just scraping by with my grades. If I don't work hard, I could be tossed aside. I doubt it's like that. I thought they were always short on help. They must think that if you can't get to it, they don't have to worry about it. Sarah pondered on that, then spoke very frankly. That's just how the lunar surface is. At least that's how things seem to be to a certain degree. I think things should be allowed to run their course. Sarah stared at me silently for a brief moment before slowly making his way down the stairway. You're too grown up now. Thanks. Sarah replied to my retort with a humph through his nose and descended the flight of stairs. I like it so far. You're fine with this kitty drink? I heard him from up the stairs, but I didn't reply. Ascending the steps, I entered the corridor on the 4th floor. Laughter filled the air. It was probably quite lively, since Sarah had to be sent out to restock before it was even noon. Everyone was in good spirits simply because of the location, but I didn't think much of people who drink, even just socially. It was true that I had to go back to work after this, but even if I didn't, I'd still be on my guard. I took off my coat and tie and slung my coat over my arm. I changed my appearance to match with the rest of them. If it comes to it, I think I can make use of this immobile left leg of mine. I can probably drop my crutches and take a dive to get out of anything that might happen. I turned the corner in that small corridor while thinking that, but then I stopped in my tracks. There was a figure in the corridor. I wonder what happened to him. They never really said. You know what? They probably said in the first one. I'm gonna go back and see. Goodness, she uttered when she noticed me, flapping her clothes to cool off in the corridor. It was Risa, who had sheltered me when I ran away from home 4 years ago and had taken care of me even after all my troubles. She had grabbed the midsection of her black and white habit and was flapping the hem around, very unladylike. She was cheery as usual, but her face showed signs of fatigue, and her cheeks were rosy as though she had a fever. I thought about pointing out that she was drunk, but no. Pointing out someone's drunkenness gets one of two reactions, annoyance or delight. Both are troublesome to deal with. It was just rare to see Risa like this. Usually, she was the one showing hospitality. She must have been really happy about today. You're quite late. I was beginning to think you forgot. I didn't forget. Work's piling up, so I had to pop out of the office to come. Goodness, really? Well, it's okay. Everyone waited. I wonder if they planned on me bringing alcohol. When I said that, Risa gave me a blank stare. She then laughed as she hit me on the shoulder. You're so cheeky nowadays. Would you rather I still spoke like a street punk? Risa went deep into thought. 4 years earlier, Risa always reprimanded me over how vulgar and nasty my speech was when something happened. Yeah, I think you were cuter back then. I pushed up the corners of my unmoving mouth and created an artificial smile. Risa gave another small smile and laid a hand on my head. But I love you the way you are now, too. You should be saying that to Sarah. Risa froze after hearing that, and her face became somber. You shouldn't tease adults. Sarah said the same thing. Risa wanted to retort, but she wasn't able to think straight because of the alcohol. She thumped her head like she was fighting back a headache and decided to take the high road and said, Anyways, hurry your butt inside. The star has to be waiting all this time. That doesn't count as teasing. I'm not teasing. Also, since I'm a big sister as well as a humble servant of God, I can't stand seeing her look so troubled. I couldn't tell if she was being blunter than usual because she was drunk, or if she was using her drunkenness as an excuse. I knew what she really wanted to say, and also knew she couldn't be honest. Even still, it didn't make the walk any easier for me. Well, I do realize everyone has their own issues, but today is a celebration, okay? Risa's smile skillfully expressed a wide range of emotions. It was that of an understanding, friendly neighborhood big sister. I didn't sigh, but just gave a small shrug. So, you at least brought a present, right? It was only with that phrase that the terrifying expression came to her face. Of course, I couldn't forget one. She simply pointed her back into the corridor. She nodded as if saying, Then you may pass, with an expression like a border agent. Aren't you going? I'm going to cool off a bit more. More people will probably be coming in the evening, so I need to conserve my energy. Don't overdo it. Goodness. You're not as young as you used to be. I don't think she liked that. Oh, that's cool. The tile menu things right there. I started walking off as if dodging the raised fist of the wide-eyed Risa. Soon, I began hearing an endless amount of cheerful laughs and toasts as I reached the door. There was a sign hung on the wall with 22nd Block Church written on it. Risa was in charge of a different church 4 years ago. She was kicked out of there and returned to Terra, but was able to come back after jumping from place to place and finally settling down here. I haven't heard the details, but it seems she had lots of hardships. It still hurts my heart to think about it. She'll never say it herself, but it was entirely my fault she had to let go of the church and sell off her bookstore, which she cherished more than anything in the world. Moreover, the star of the celebration was right by my side when I brought about this catastrophe. So I was worrying up until this morning about what sort of face to present to her at this celebration. It was a blessing that my expression didn't change, regardless of my feelings. That, and the fact that Risa and Sarah were both meddling, pushed me from behind and saying, "Get your butt over there." I took a deep breath and prepared myself. 4 years ago, I lost sight of what was really important, so I kept telling myself that this time I wouldn't look away. I took one step in front of the door. It wasn't that large of a room, so it was a straight shot into the living room from the corridor. And it was like I came at the perfect time. Everyone was right in front of my eyes. So much had happened 4 years ago, but they had never once blamed me for anything. Honestly, this was someone I couldn't make it up to no matter how hard I tried. She looked like she was on the verge of blossoming into a woman, having grown a little taller since 4 years ago. I wonder if I should stop it here and make you guys wonder who it could be. But I'm not that mean. Let's see. Perhaps she was uneasy because she was actually worried that I wouldn't come. It was ridiculous, though. How could I not come? She let out a little laugh like a cry when she realized that I wasn't a phantom. So much had happened since that day 4 years ago. I wasn't helped, and albeit not much, I helped her some, but I don't think that reduces my crime. And that was why I hadn't come here. Or I had to come here. Gotcha. Congratulations on getting into college. I handed my gift over to shaggy-haired Chris as I said that. Alright guys, I think I'm going to leave it here. My impression so far, it's very well written. Oh. Maybe we'll wait till this. Well, I think that is the first time I've seen an animated intro for a visual novel. And actually, I think it worked out really well. Really well indeed. In fact, that means that what we just read was the prologue. And now it's going to get into the actual story, which I'll leave to you guys if you want to expand on this. My thoughts so far, I like the aesthetic and the art with this game. I think it's very well done. I also like their choice of music. They've got some kind of new age stuff mixed in with some classical, which I think worked really well in the beginning as well. So I'm excited to see how that goes forward. And it's written by somebody who is known to be very intelligent in their writing, and someone who I've really liked their previous stuff. So I'm really excited to get going with this one. That's basically all I have to say, other than one more thing. I looked up on how long to beat. The average time to beat the first episode of the series was about 8 to 8.5 hours. So, you seem to get your money's worth. I mean, everyone has their own kind of, pay grade for this kind of stuff, what you can afford, what you can't. But if you like visual novels, this one, the last one at least, was fairly lengthy, so I'm assuming this one will be as well. Quite a bit longer than some of the other ones that I've completed. So I think the fastest time was like 6.5 hours, and the other ones were 8 to 10. So that is all I have to say about this. I'll leave everything down below if you want to get started, and if you want to check this out for yourself. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode.